Right, so I did a video on my WrestleMania predictions, and we got to the last one of the last ones, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns match, and I said I'd get into that whole thing on a separate video. So here it is. What I think is going to happen is, and this is due to the company essentially listening to its fan base and inserting Rusev into the US title match. Again, I think they're gonna listen to the fan base again in regards to this match. Now it is gonna happen, and Roman Reigns is gonna win. But I think Paul Heyman is going to do the job on Brock Lesnar. And I think this is going to happen for a number of reasons. This is going to happen because I think the WWE feels like Brock Lesnar is taking a mick out of him, essentially. You know what I mean? He's openly stated that he doesn't want to do this anymore, and that he wants to go back to the UFC. And they've bent over backwards for him as well in regards to the money they give him, the time off they give him, the amount of shows they let him do or not do as it is, giving him an extended title run, you know. I think they think they've been that he's done them quite bad here. He's stiffed them essentially. And he's not, especially in the past year, the matches that he's been in, I think, but it looks like he's been carried quite a lot, you know, by the other performers that have been in the matches, you know. Also, Braun Strowman didn't get the title run, and I think the fans wanted Braun Strowman to have the title this year, you know, and arguably he should have, because he was incredibly over and he should have had it, you know, but Brock's contract, etc. So, and he's openly caught at the UFC and said that he is signing with the UFC. So I think they're going to do him over. I do, and he's not going to look weak, but he's not going to look good, you know. I think Roman Reigns will probably do the majority of the work in the match, and then as the big surprise, the big moment, Paul Heyman is going to interfere on Roman Reigns' behalf, and it turns out that he's switched allegiances. Now I say this because one of the promos that Paul Heyman has done previously, leading up to the build-up for this match, he really bigged up Roman Reigns as this Samoan badass and etc. And you know, I think there's a reason why. I think there's more to it than just a build-up, you know. Paul Heyman's contract is also not up either. He's still got quite a bit of time on that. I believe he's got a few years left. So they're going to want to keep him active and give him a role. This is the ideal role for him to have, really. I reckon to support this as well, and to support this turn of events, I think the Usos are going to come over to Raw, and you will see that people will see the formation of the Roman Empire. I think they're really going to go with that, as opposed to this Samoan squad thing that people have mentioned. I think that's a terrible thing. But yeah, I think they're going to build on this Roman Empire thing, and I think Nia Jax will be chucked in there as well. You know. It's and I think that's the way it's going to go, and I think that they're gonna do it because Daniel Bryan has come back now. Because Daniel Bryan is back, that frees up a lot of space. It gives them a lot of breathing room because Daniel Bryan is arguably the biggest face in the company. He's the biggest face that they've got. You know, he sells the merchandise, he puts the ticket, you know, he sells tickets, he sells pay-per-views, he gets the biggest pops. You know, him coming back is a blessing for them because they can then rebuild Roman Reigns, which is essentially what they need to do. They need to rebuild him, put him back to, reset him back to the guy that he was in the Shield. It's been mentioned a few times, you know, that's the guy, that's the character that the fans really liked. That's the one they fell for. And then out of nowhere they turned him and flipped him and made him into this other Roman Reigns character that people don't really like. People that they haven't got an interest in. So with Daniel Bryan returning and becoming and essentially becoming the face of the WWE and taking on that mantle for a few years, it gives them time to do a character reset for Roman Reigns, which I think they will do, and I think it'll work. It worked for the Usos fantastically well, and they're incredibly over now because let's not beat around the bush. Roman Reigns is a good worker. He's good in the ring. You know, there's not much that he can't do. He can and he can fly for a big guy as well. Let's not forget that. He's good on the ground. He's good at selling. You know, so. The one area people say he struggles on is his mic work, but in saying that, he is given scripts to memorise, and that's no good really. Steve Austin did a piece on it a while back now. You know, he mentioned that it's really difficult for a wrestler who has a character to get the message across as the character when they're trying to remember a script, because then they're more concerned about remembering the lines and delivering the lines than they are how to deliver the lines, if they deliver the lines as the character, you know. And then that's when you get mistakes, flubs, etc. You know, so it's if they gave him a little bit more freedom, and when he's had freedom during promos, he's done all right. He's shown a level of sarcasm which is I found quite refreshing, quite good. So yeah, that's what I think it's going to have, and I think they're going to bury Brock Lesnar, to be honest. Yeah, I don't see him coming out of this any good. I know that they're deep in contract talks with Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley is essentially going to take up where Brock Lesnar left, except for he's going to do a better job of it because he likes the business, likes pro wrestling. He's got no issues with it, you know. And I think that if they can strike the right deal with him, so that he can still compete in MMA, I think that's going to work out a lot better for them, because Scott Croker, who's the main guy in Bellator, I think he'd be more open to working alongside the WWE with this. You know, he'd advertise the fact that Bobby Lashley is a WWE superstar. He's going to get more publicity from it. And the WWE they're going to use that in their promos as well for him. You know, current ranked number whatever he is in the Bellator heavyweight division. You know, it may actually fast track Bobby Lashley to a heavyweight title fight in Bellator, which again will do nothing but good for business on both ends of the table here. You know, so I think it works both ways. You know, I think Brock Lesnar getting stung for steroids didn't help either. With the way that the stance that WWE has on drugs and on steroids at the moment, the way that they're trying to portray themselves in public with regards to that, I think, that again, it's done him no good. That they're not going, they won't have forgotten that. So yeah, I think they're going to bury him. I really do. I think he's going to be off TV for a while. I think after this, he's got one more match in his contract, and part of me wouldn't be surprised if they didn't actually use that and they just kept him completely quiet until his contract ran out. So then he wasn't getting any publicity for the UFC or anything like that, so he couldn't get any assistance with building his brand going for when he goes back into MMA and into the UFC. But I think it's better. I think this is a better deal for the WWE in a lot of respects, because they get rid of him, so they please their fan base. It's good for their business as well, because obviously because of the steroid, the positive steroid test, so that works well for them, so they can wash their hands of that. It works well for Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley works extremely well for the WWE because he still really likes doing pro wrestling. He's still got he's still good in the ring as well. He's a lot more active in the ring. He does a lot more. He puts on better matches as well. There's a lot more to sell about him as well. He's easier to sell to the audience as well. If they can strike up a deal where he can still compete in MMA and in Bellator, that is only going to enhance the WWE's product when they sell him, and when they're putting him across to the fans, with the acquisition of Ronda Rousey as well, and you've got Asuka, who has a MMA background as well. I think she has an MMA record, and they've got a couple other ladies that have MMA backgrounds that have been in and they're being emphasised a lot more. The MMA background's being emphasised, so I think this will work in a lot of ways for them, and it works. Ultimately, it works for Roman Reigns, because he'll be given the time to essentially reset and redevelop, and I think the idea of possibly building a stable around him, as in the Roman Empire, and using the Usos, and using Nia Jax, although I can't see the Nia Jax happening anytime soon, because they've just spent a long time turning him into a face, so that might come later, but I can definitely see a stable in the future, and I can see Paul Heyman essentially being the mouthpiece for that, and the Usos are really good on the mic, and their mic skills will be utilised a lot during that as well. So that's what I think is going to happen there with that. So any thoughts, any comments on that? If anybody actually watches this, if you agree, if you disagree, whatever, let me know what you think. See you later.